From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Direct and live from Santa Monica. A deal could be happening, but the deal goes forward with progress overnight, but several provisions step backwards. I'll have the latest details in this recording. Then, Americans don't know what's in the recon, and LALATE told you so. Now Americans are learning today what is in the recon, and you're going to be shocked. I haven't heard this until this recording. Then, price tag is staying at around $2 trillion, but which program is taking up 25% of the recon? A shocker on mornings. Then, programs in, programs out. New programs survived and fixed overnight, but one program, which is the meat and potatoes, still a battleground. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debt is coming up next? I have all those incredible details. And then the big money of COLA. COLA's going up, and that is the latest raise across the board. But in the second half of this video, you're going to hear shockers like you never heard. We have a lot of breaking news as one provision from a senator gets mocked left and right. One provision from a senator becomes a red line in the ground. Kremlin and Pelosi meet overnight, and there's a war at Bruin. I have the latest details. The president's going overseas. And why is it going overseas? And what's that 25% of the recon being dedicated for? A big shocker. A lot of breaking news. Stuff you've never heard before. It's all happening right now. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the only thing reoccurring is that there's no bacon. And this is Mornings LALATE. And it's beautiful weather here in Southern California. I hope the weather is good where you are in today's recording. In this recording, we have incredible details about this incredible recon. What deals got formulated overnight, which ones fell apart are the latest details. Americans don't know what's in the recon, and today we learn we didn't know one price tag. You're going to be shocked. The price is right, staying at $2 trillion. No movement on that so far. And then programs in, programs out. Progress on some programs, lack of progress on others, and one program falling apart. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debt? I have those details and more. And then we go into that COLA rise. Boy, exciting details as fifth stimulus is right around the corner. But in the second half of this video, you'll hear me look back over what we have seen and what we haven't seen in this recon and why I'm not particularly happy about something the president's doing. It's commentary. It comes up in the final 15 minutes of this video. But we got a big recording, and it's all exciting, and it starts right now. And this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, and 140 million viewers in a year and a half. I want you part of this incredible family with the most comprehensive cover across the board, minute by the minute, hour by the hour about this recon. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. 3.5 weeks ago, the House Subcommittee budget passed a recon priced at $3.5 trillion. It is money for the American people. It is money for you. It is money for seniors, workers, seniors, young people, people with children, people without children, people married, people unmarried, people who are employed, people who are unemployed. And the average payout that viewers are going to get as soon as this becomes a law is a lot. The average viewer of this channel is going to get upwards about $15,000. As soon as it becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get this incredible sums of money. It's splattered across 3 clusters of checks. I'm going to go over those 3 clusters, the status of the 3 clusters, the status of the 3 add-ons, and then I'll have the breaking news about one major provision that we did not know was in this recon of this magnitude. It's all happening brand new on morning. Starting right now, cluster number 1, hazard pay and $4,000 of elder care. We have no update about the hazard pay. This is the earned income tax credit, broadening the eligibility, increasing the amount of money for the essential workers. We believe the elder care is surviving because the Bob Casey money for seniors, home health care survived. $4,000 for young children care believed to survive as well. The Pell Grant, which is grants for college students, tax-free, survive. We do have an update about that, and the grants to the university and to the student themselves surviving as well. The home repairs, if you live in a low-income community, free home repairs believed to survived because the housing, which is coming up in just 10 seconds, survived. Then the money for the CTC, the child tax credit, reduced. It'll be 1 year, $3,600 or $3,000 per child if you make $60,000 or less per year. And then the money for the bikes, cars, and trucks believed to survive. 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike, U.S. auto manufactured. $6,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, U.S. auto manufactured. Personal use, a little bit more for business use. That's the first cluster so far with its update on mornings. Let's go to the first add-on. The $25,000 from Maxine Waters for the purchase price of your first home. Not surviving at that price point. Nothing is going to pay you $25,000 directly from one item. It's too rich, but it's likely to have survived in some format because the housing has survived. Maxine Waters housing, which this is part of, survived. So you just saw the home repairs, it's part of housing. You're going to see another home repairs coming up in the second cluster. It's part of housing. Housing also is rent, mortgage assistance, and first-time home buyers. How much? The recon was to have it at $300 billion. Then it was out on Wednesday, completely out. Maxine Waters pushed to get it back in there. It went in at 100. Now it's at about 175. It keeps on growing. So good news across the board. That means that when we look at that second cluster checks, the home repairs, the weatherizing your home survived as well. Let's go over what happened with the other provisions in cluster number 2. So family leave, medical leave survived, but different. More about that later in this video. Stay the final 15 minutes of the video. We have a lot coming up. Child care, household tax credits believed to survive. Pre-kindergarten believed to survive. Tuition-free community college, either 0 out or 2 years or less. And then the money to weatherize your home, yes, that survived because that's part of the housing. That believed to be in there as well. I always say it's very important to weatherize your home. Democrats and Republicans agree upon this one because you have to weatherize in case Kristen Sinema comes knocking. There's a new article out today that talks about Kristen Sinema. More about that article later in this video. The article is longer than War and Peace, and guess what? It tries to find someone that Kristen Sinema is popular among. In a footnote, that's coming up later in this video. Let's go to the third cluster, the second add-on, and this is huge. This is the money for paid home health care. The provision the president promised during his campaign for the highest office in the land, he went $500 billion. This is home health care. Bob Casey, he wanted this number, 250. He's a senator from Pennsylvania. It survived. It survived, which means my seniors who cannot afford home health care, you're going to get it. My people on disability who cannot afford it, you're going to get it. Not at 250, but it's somewhere about 100 to 150 coming up in a second in the second half of this video. Stay with me. There's a lot coming up in this video, folks. Stay to the very end. All right, let's go to the third cluster checks. Here we go. I'm going to go through each of them one at a time and tell you what their status is and where the numbers are. Free school meals for all checks. We believe it survived. Cheaper prescription medication. It survived, but it's wrong, so it's not finished yet. Farmers, we don't know. A free internet, we don't know. Clean energy, out. Workers' money, like independent contractors, we don't know. Dental, vision, hearing, lowering the eligibility age, and Medicare expansion in there, but wrong. So they're trying to fix it. The Medicare expansion got solved overnight, so this is a big win. I'll explain that in a second. That got solved, but the dental, vision, and hearing, not yet solved. And the dropping the Medicare eligibility age, it believe it is solved. That brings us to the third add-on, which is that IRS monthly stimulus check. If there's a recurring theme you can see in this recording, is that the Democrats are fighting tooth and nail for every provision. There was a video yesterday of Bernie Sanders who went out into the halls of the Senate and was stopped by reporters to ask about the recon and his provisions. You could take off the audio and just look at the video, and you could see the face, the hands, the body gesture, and see how Bernie Sanders was so vigorous in his advocacy for stuff in this recon. That's how you should be for this MSC IRS stimulus check. The good news is that nothing is etched in stone, number one. Number two, they don't have the recon done yet, number two. Number three, everyone's advocating for inclusion of things, and they can still add things. And they're advocating by the minute. Number four, Bernie Sanders embodied the advocacy when he said yesterday, when asked about dental, vision, and hearing, he says, people don't have teeth. People don't have hearing. People don't have vision. That is what true advocacy is about. What we have at issue is AOC Omar Jalapal, who is literally at arms with Pelosi overnight. I'll delete details of what happened. That they are vowing to add stuff in on the House side if the House members don't put it in there, and that includes if Nancy Pelosi doesn't put it in there, or if Nancy does. We have opportunities. Put it before it's a House bill, put it after it's a House bill, but before a House vote. Then the Senate side. If there was one person who was on his own Gilligan's Island yesterday, it was Ron Wyden. Yeah, you saw it. You heard it. You heard it on this channel. Well, that's what senators are like during the vote-a-rama. They just sort of do their own thing. You can hear Liz Warren talk about the situation later. If something's missing, they're going to add it. And Chuck Schumer said he would add that monthly stimulus check to Donnie's wife, Donnie himself, and Debbie Applegate, another viewer in the last 2 weeks. Donnie sent me a beautiful message yesterday on Instagram saying, tell the viewers to advocate. No time to sit back and ask when, where, how, calendar cod or calendar Colleen. He's right. And that brings us to our last message, which comes from the Chief of Staff to the number one senator of the equation. 3 million of you have reached out to those senators. We can do a lot more because this viewership of this channel does a lot more than 3 million. But let's read the message from the senator. We now have in total between congressional and senatorial offices received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from the LA viewers. Now they have a better understanding of what Americans are trying to do to get through this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories in your LA viewers, and they have the voice of the people in ULA, as ULA have become too loud to be ignored across this nation. Very, very kind. Let's read the last sentence on air together. That last sentence says the following. Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people you have become allied, and continue to push until this becomes law. Very, very nice from that Chief of Staff to me. What is the message? We need to advocate. If there's something you've seen in the last 24 hours is that Bernie was fuming mad. You're going to see in a second a quote that I had in my files here on Monday, where we did not know if the progressives were going to fold like a lawn chair. They are really not folding like a lawn chair. They're bringing in extra outside patio furniture. They are really coming in, and that's what you need to do. As Jennifer said in the afternoon's 1 o'clock show yesterday, longtime viewer on my channel, Jennifer, she said, how many people have you called to advocate for today? She said right at other fellow viewers. Brilliantly said. But boy, are you ready for the second half of this video? It's jaw-dropping. There's a lot of shockers on this morning's broadcast. It's totally brand new stuff, and I hope you're tuning in because this is big stuff. A deal will be happening, but when? Jalapal and Pelosi met overnight about calling votes, and you're going to be shocked what they said during the post-Pelosi-Pramila meeting. LA told you so. Americans don't know what's in the recon. But today you're going to learn that we did not know something was in the recon, and you're going to be shocked. Here's a spoiler. One provision you're going to learn in the second half of this video consumes 25% of the recon at $500 billion. What provision is it? Jump into the live chat right now and post what you guess the provision is. If you're watching this video when it airs live, post your comment. If you're watching it when you're taped, keep it quiet if you already know the answer. Price is right. We're staying at $2 trillion. That is good news. But the question is which programs are out and which programs are in. Big progress. A couple programs solved overnight. Great news on that. A couple programs, no progress on them on 48 hours. Then student loan debt forgiven, more debt could be forgiven. COLA raises. That COLA raise is coming up. And then we're going to be looking back and looking forward. I'm going to have a little bit of commentary because I think I'm owed it when I go over that provision at 25% of the recon. Those shocking details, the big progress, where the president's going, when the president's leaving the United States, why he's leaving the United States, what is happening. I have all those details and more as we go into the second half of this video. Stay with me. It's a shocker. It's Mornings LALATE, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on a Mornings LALATE as the president was trying to get a deal done today. Today is a big day, and I'll explain to you why as we go from Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday. What is the issue of these days with the president on a deal? A major provision that consumes 25% of the recon at a $500 billion price tag. No one guessed it during the commercial break. I'll give you the revelation. Step away from the fine china and the cutlery. You're not going to be happy. Then, the price is right. The price will stay at $2 trillion, but what is being consuming in that recon? I have the shocker we haven't heard until today. Programs in, programs out. Which programs were removed and which programs got some solutions? But then I had told you one program was a major stalling point for 48 hours. Did they get it fixed or not? Student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven, and then COLA going up. And you'll hear my commentary, and it's concerning that big provision. All those details and more. We got a big second half of this video. It's a shocker. It's all breaking news. We got a lot. And this is Mornings LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is noontime. Then we got the 1 o'clock afternoon show. Then a brand new afternoon show at 3 o'clock. It was taped right before this recording. The evening's LALATE show will be the latest taped show of the day. It's critical for time frame, and I'll explain to you why in a second. Also, consider becoming a member to get that newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. from this channel. Let's go to the surprises across the board, including that Ron Wyden provision. Oh boy, that was a laugher. Here we go. Here comes the second half of this video. So, I'm going to go right into the details. I'm going to go into right exactly what's happening right now on Mornings. So, there was great progress on one big win. Democrats, including Manchin and Sinema, have now agreed to a key provision to pay for the recon. 15% corporate tax minimum rate on 200 companies, which have $1 billion in profits. That would generate $400 billion, which would pay for 25% of the recon. Great news. Breaking news. You're hearing for the first time on Mornings right now. Second, huge win, big win. They got a solution for that Medicaid, Medicare expansion. One thing I know I may be butchering is the word Medicare and Medicaid. My apologies. So you see me over the last few days talk about this provision. This is a big one. Everyone wants to expand it across all 50 states. But the way it was written, the Democratic states, like West Virginia, would have to pay for the Republican states that would offer to its citizens, but not pay for it, because the Republican governors don't want to pay for it. West Virginia doesn't want to pay for the state of Texas. So they solved this one. They solved this one overnight with a workaround so that it would be paid for equally in all states. The solution comes from House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn out of South Carolina and Raphael Warnock out of Georgia. Thank you for that solution for the two of you. Great news. Then I call this a good news. Good news. Everyone laughed Ron Wyden's provision to the curb yesterday. It's very rare for me to say, don't trash a provision. This provision we're going to trash. If you're on Twitter, if you're on this channel, if you're on broadcast media, guess what? Democrats, Republicans, viewers of this channel, myself. And now we learn that Nancy Pelosi, the president, and even Richard Neal, House of Ways and Means, all trashed this Ron Wyden provision yesterday. You know which one it is. The provisions was said that if you deposit $600 in the bank, your bank must report that to IRS because you may be a cheater. No, I'm depositing a second stimulus check of $600. What do you think I'm doing? It's just a crazy provision. Number one, it $600. Are you crazy? We're dealing with billionaires. We're not dealing with $600 checks. Number two, banks don't do this. Ron Wyden should have picked up the phone and called me. And I would have said to him, Ron, I was recording the videos last year when the PPP program went live, and I recorded 1,000 videos where Chase, Bank America, Citibank couldn't get their computer systems to launch the PPP program. They didn't have computer programmers. They didn't have the money to spend on doing these things. Do you think banks are going to spend a penny to report $600 you deposited to Treasury? No, they want to charge you to get extra cream in your coffee in the lobby. They don't do these type of things. So the bottom line, it's gone. It's dead on arrival. And Ron Wyden is not happy that everyone was trash talking the provision. Sorry. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders' big provision. Dental, vision, hearing. No progress on this in 48 hours. This is a trouble. And this was a commentary on this channel yesterday. I said, if you don't get this done, you don't get the recon moving forward. Then, big shocker. You're hearing for the first time right on this channel. Pramila versus Pelosi. Yes. Yesterday, Pelosi and Pramila met. And guess what Pelosi said? Just guess. Who told you this was going to happen? I did. I told you yesterday that Gothenheimer, that Democrat, was going to try to call a vote on the roads and bridges. He didn't. Pelosi did. Oh boy. What happened? We're hearing right now that Pelosi and Pramila, that's Jalapal, had a meeting yesterday. What was the topic of discussion? Pelosi said, you and I, Pramila, agreed last month that if we have a framework on the recon, that we would agree to call the vote on the roads and bridges and you would support it just upon the framework of the recon. And at the moment, we really have a 90% of the framework of the recon done. So let's call a vote on the roads and bridges. Pramila said that was not the agreement. And we're not doing it on just a framework. And you have to call the vote on the recon first before the roads and bridges. Yes. So let's go over this. Number one, the Democrat progressives during the last month said, and I ran the quote, they would never vote in favor of the roads and bridges on just a framework of the recon. Framework is a fancy word for just outline. They would not do it. They would have to have a vote on the recon. Number two, the president said, we're never going to call a vote on the roads and bridges until we've agreed upon the recon. They haven't agreed upon the recon. They've agreed on 98% of the recon. That's not 100%. They don't even have the pay for it ready for the recon. Number three, Pelosi was told by the president, don't call the vote again on the roads and bridges. But I had told you all week long, get ready for Thursday, Friday. I think Pelosi's going to call the vote on the roads and bridges. She emerged from the meeting yesterday and she told the press that based upon the framework of the recon at where it is right now, 98%, 90%, that's enough to call the vote on the roads and bridges. That is why I told you there was a strange word in that Pramila quote yesterday where she said, don't underestimate the progressives. Bottom line, we got 60 progressives. If Pelosi tries to do that, the roads and bridges is going down in flames on Thursday or Friday if she does try to call the vote because of the ending of the surface transportation agreement deadline. It's not a deadline. They could extend it like they've done it before. Very good news. Why do I love this? Because Jalapal and Bernie have not folded like a lawn chair. That was my concern 2 days ago. Will they fold like a lawn chair? They've not only not folded like a lawn chair, they've ordered in more outdoor patio furniture. I love it. I love it. I haven't seen this great news. And then one thing I'm not happy about, his name, Ron Klain. You've seen him on the show. He's the chief of staff to the president. He says, I support Pelosi for calling the vote on the roads and bridges. Really, Ron? Excuse me, that is bad. Here's a nice laugh. You ready for a good quote? I love this quote. I'm going to put on a picture frame. Let's put on some pillows and sell them during the holidays. Brenda Boyle, Democrat from Pennsylvania, when asked about the status of the recon, said, well, we're just missing two things. What exactly is going to be in the bill and how we're going to pay for it. But other than that, we're ready to go. I love that quote. I love that quote. Then Jeff Merkley, Democrat of Oregon. Is it Oregon or Oregon? He says, there's huge pieces that are not nailed down on the recon. So each time I hear, well, it's almost done, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. All right. So before the commercial break, I asked you to guess the revelation, learning just today. You're hearing for the first time in this video ever on this channel. It's nowhere has been known. 90% of Americans don't know when recon exists. 10% of Americans cannot tell you what's in the recon. But even among the viewers of this channel who can tell you what's in the recon, I can tell you what's in the recon. I can tell you this item was in the recon. I could not tell you this item was encompassing 25% of the recon. $500 billion of a $2 trillion recon. No one guessed it. The answer is climate. Yeah, step away from the culinary. Step away from the hot coffee. Step away from the China. I know your hands are swirling right now. Yeah, we are shocked to learn that $500 to $550 billion of the recon is dedicated to climate. And that is why other provisions are having to drop from 300 to 120, 190, 200, because climate is consuming that much. More about that later. I have a commentary about this. You know I do. All right, let's go over where we are going right now. We have some items progressing, some items not progressing. So, Manchin appeared at the Economic Council of Washington yesterday and said that the Ron Wyden provision is dead upon arrival. It is dead upon arrival, so that's good news on that. Ironically, what I don't like is the president didn't understand this. The president was trying to do a Ron Wyden type provision where you try to collect information from bank accounts to send it over to Treasury for enforcement. And Manchin says you can't do this. Who the world came up with this? And Joe Biden, and Joe, and Josephine, all Yale graduates, were sitting at that breakfast in Delaware having bacon without me invited. And they looked, and this is what Joe Manchin said. The president looked at them and said, who the hell came up with this one? And he said, you can't do this. It's refreshing that Joe Manchin was the voice of reason on this one, but why were the Yaleys trying to run this all the way to the ground, to the finish line? Chuck Schumer yesterday said the deal is within reach on the recon. Only problem is Chuck Schumer has shorter arms than I do. I can reach, and I don't see it there yet. Bernie Sanders had the biggest quotes yesterday. Bernie Sanders emerged from that meeting in his Senate chambers, walking the halls of the Senate floor, and was surrounded by surrounded by press reporters, and asked, where do you see the recon? This was yesterday. The comments by Bernie yesterday were the same as I said the day before, which was you need to do it then. They didn't get done the day before. They didn't get done yesterday. At the time of this recording, which is now at about 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, they still have not done this. So this is where they got to get the recon worked on, negotiated on. They don't get this done. Bernie, who is lock and step with Pramila, nothing's going to progress. They got to get this done. And what is it? Prescription medication, and then the seniors money. Number one, Bernie said, the number one item on people's minds are being ripped off by pharmaceutical companies. We're paying more than 10% more than other countries are for pharmaceuticals companies because the pharmaceutical companies are ripping us off. Right now, there are currently 15 paid lobbyists from the pharmaceutical companies in the Senate walking around. No, they're not walking around. They're on Kristen Sinema's room. And they're preventing us from figuring out a formula of what is their cost basis on the prescription medication so we can do the legislation. We need to have real Medicare negotiations on how to lower the price. Have they had the negotiations? No. So they haven't even talked about these negotiations. There's a big new article out today about Kristen Sinema. It's longer than War and Peace. It's so long. What does the article say? Kristen Sinema once had a lot of friends, a lot of Democratic friends, a lot of Democratic leader friends in her home state. She has literally gone into the witness protection plan at this moment. She has isolated Republicans. She has isolated Democrats. She has isolated every Democrat in their home state. Everyone that helped got into Senate, she has not returned their phone calls for over a year. She is literally not communicating with anyone, people who have been a long-time friends of many, many years. The article goes on for pages and pages. Why is she doing this with Big Pharma in her pockets? They all say it's about political aspiration and maybe business aspiration after her time in Congress. She doesn't care about anything except herself, and they're very, very concerned about where the situation is with her, and I am too. So Bernie's second statement, which is the number two most concern for people's Americans, is we're the wealthiest country in America, and older people have no teeth in their mouth. They cannot afford hearing, no hearing aid, and they cannot see. Any recon must have serious negotiations about expanding these benefits. They have not had those expansions. They've not had those negotiations. We do know that Manchin did negotiate with Bernie about this late last week. No progress. So I don't know how you get from A to B if you don't get the dental, vision, and hearing solved, let alone negotiate. More about that later. This is a red line. So I'm very happy about one thing. What is it? The press secretary, the Teal Monster, was trashed yesterday. The press secretary said a horrible comment when asked the president's leaving town on Thursday while the recon is not finished. What is going to happen? She said, their phones on Air Force One. I heard there's phones in Europe. They can get it done. Guess what? A brand new article runs exactly my commentary from yesterday. That's not going to cut it. Who is the president leaving in control of the negotiations? Hi, Ann. Brian Deasy. Yeah, really, not going to work. You're leaving a bunch of 40-year-old Yaleys that have hardly worked, not him, but other people, in their time to do the negotiations. Bernie's not even going to answer the door if they call knocking. The article today says that the president's running on fumes. He's done all his stops. He needs to be the person face to face that says, you do this, you do it with me. Having 40-year-old educated people who have not served in public life try to get this recon over the finish line, not going to work. And now they're running the article that says, hey, you know what? The president's thought to go overseas, not going to work. Why is the president going overseas? Why is he leaving? That's coming up in my commentary later. Get ready for it. It's good. Here we go. Pramila said yesterday, you don't want to underestimate the progressive vote or take it for granted. We now know why. 60-plus progressives will block any attempt by Pelosi to potentially call a vote on the roads and bridges by the end of the week. We don't know it is being called for a vote, but we don't know yet. Mazie Hirono said yesterday, 1.5 is not going to work. It is not going to work, especially if it's $500 billion for climate. That would be 1/3 of the recon then. At the moment, we're good. I love Jim McGovern. Jim McGovern said, we're not going to call a vote on the roads and bridges until we have an agreement on the recon first. Liz Warren. Liz Warren, she has the best quote. She says, I just want to see that we have a good deal. I do too. I just want to sip some Boston tea with Liz Warren and watch that we have a good deal. Liz Warren always has those great YouTube videos where she's in that room with the shutters behind her and the banana plant and her collar up, not for Halloween, just always up. The collar's always up. And she says, I want to see there's a good deal. You know why? Because if it's bad, she's going to hack it to death during the Senate vote-a-rama, and you want her to because she wants to give you a monthly IRS stimulus check. And then the best news is that I had said on Monday and Tuesday, I was worried if the progressives are going to fold like lawn chairs at the 11th hour. Boy, they are not folding like lawn chairs. They're actually ordering more lawn chairs. They're calling up the rental company and adding for more patio furniture. I've never seen anything like this. I'm very, very excited on how they've held their position. All right, now let's go into the provisions that are in, the provisions that are out, and what is next. So here you go. The provisions that are surviving. Childcare, 1 year, $3,600 to $3,000 if you make $60,000 or less per child. Community college, either in or 2 years or less. Pell's Grant, surviving, tax-free, and then the money for the college student and to the university directly. The Medicare, boy, there's a big one. So they have now solved, you've seen, that's great news. They've solved how to pay for this, which is a big issue. They solved how to pay for this. Thank you, Raphael Warnock and the other guy whose name I forgot. Thank you for solving the pay for. Dropping the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60, if it's Bob Casey, or from 60 to 55, Bernie. They look like they got that solved. But the dental, vision, hearing, unsolved, and not even negotiating it. And this is a core of the progressives, the AOC, the Omar, the Pramila, the Bernie. You don't get this done, no one is going to even pick up the phone for you. Then prescription medication. I had a beautiful viewer. I love my viewers. My viewer sent me a comment about the prescription medication. As you know, 2 days ago I said, done. They got it in there by doing lower prescription medication on Medicare B. Then yesterday I said, not done, because Bernie says that's not enough. A viewer sent me a beautiful message saying, let me explain to you what Medicare Part B is. That is for insulin and for diabetic medication. Very costly. So this is good. It's good it's in there. But as Bernie says, not enough. He wants cheaper prescription medication across more Medicare plans and across more money for seniors. So absolutely not solved yet. Childcare in there, great news. Not as big as they wanted, less years. Clean energy, of course, out. Health insurance. I had a beautiful message sent to me by an Instagram viewer saying, I can't pay it anymore. I gave it up just a few weeks ago. Please advocate for its inclusion. You're the voice. I am. Thank you. Absolutely. They got it in there. Not as long, but shorter. Housing aid. Huge. Got it in there. This is rent, mortgage assistance, utilities, presumably the home repairs, like the weatherizing home, the money for low-income home repairs, low-income community home repairs. They got in there 175 at the moment. Good. It was out. Then it was 100. Now it's 175. And in-home care, which is the home health care, got it in there. Good. 100 to 250. It looks like they're going to just do less years of it. That's a home health care for the people on disability and the seniors. Then let's go to the dental, vision, and hearing. The problem with this is just leaps and bounds. The dental has a problem, according to Pelosi, that if you made dental law today, Medicare and Medicaid won't implement it for 5 to 6 years because of how confusing the programs are. So they need a workaround. You need help for your teeth this year. They proposed a voucher program, $800 a year. I call that insufficient. $800 is basically half a tooth in Los Angeles. That doesn't cut it if you have no teeth. So $800 doesn't cut it. Have they found the solution? They have not found the solution. The paid family leave, not the way it should be. They got the paid family leave reduced to 4 years. And what are they doing it? Excuse me, not 4 years, 4 weeks for low-income employees only. I don't like that. It should be 3 weeks for low-income employees and self-employed gig workers like Uber and Lyft. They originally wanted 12 weeks. Nancy Pelosi wanted 12 weeks for everyone, all walk of life. The SALT got out. That is the removing the cap on state and local tax deduction. Very confusing to say. Out. The Obama subsidies, out. All right, let's now turn to student loan debt, COLA, and then my commentary. You're going to be surprised by my commentary coming up in just a second. Stay with me. We got a lot coming up. So the money for student loan debt, president's offered $10,000 of student loan debt, not the only and final round, but just the latest round by executive order. Democrats should take it. Absolutely should take it. It would be for everyone. The remaining $10,000. The president's already forgave 3 rounds of student loan debt. First, for individuals who became disabled after graduation. Your debts have been forgiven. Then, president forgave student loan debts for individuals who went into the nonprofit sector for 10 years after graduation. Your debts have been forgiven. The big one was the president forgave student loan debts for people who went into the public sector for 10 years after graduation. This is city, county, state, federal employees. Very good. But the Democrats should take the last $10,000. There's no reason they should not, and they can come back and ask for the remainder money next year. COLA raises, get ready. Your benefits are going up under COLA raise, but get ready because fifth stimulus is right behind it. Fifth stimulus would be 2 more lifts ups after that. Let me explain what's going on. Your benefits are going to go up next year, everyone's benefits. So the check you're looking at now, you're never going to get that check. You're going to get a bigger number. But fifth stimulus is proposed to come right behind it. And a top legislator met with Pelosi this week and said, let's do it. And she said yes. Fifth stimulus has 2 more lift-ups. First, 1 lift-up one time if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veterans benefits. Then a new benchmark inflation, which is going to be 1 to 3% next year. COLA will likely be 0. So let's do the analysis. This is going to go up one time in January. Then, as soon as fifth stimulus becomes law, an additional lift-up, second one. And then a third lift-up in December next year if fifth stimulus becomes a law. They're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Finally, if you haven't become a member, consider becoming a member today. The link is under the video. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. It's more than just getting an emoji behind your name, like people in the live chat. It's getting that newsletter. Because of running time of the videos, at least today, I don't have time to run over a third stimulus, but it's still paying. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, SNAP, and then homeowners assistance, homeless people into shelters, appliances like refrigerators, furnaces, portable heaters, windows fixed, clothing. This big money is being paid out and more rounds of it. So if you've gotten this money before, get another round of it. The newsletter features all that money for you. And it features the nonprofits, all 5 of them, features the Treasury statement about the additional amount of money. You should read that before calling up, and shows you how to get another round if you've gotten rounds before, or if you've never gotten, how to get it for the first time. Viewers are getting an average of about $40,000 per week in the last few weeks. The membership newsletter comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is also in the description of this video. That's free to sign up for. That's news.lalate.com/alerts. Consider becoming a member today. And with that, time for a little bit of commentary. I think I deserve it based upon the revelation, which I saw your comments during the commercial break. No one guessed this was that amount of money, or it was this program. We learned today for the first time ever that of a recon, the president has the price tag currently at $2 trillion. He wants to dedicate $500 to $550 billion of it to climate. That would mean that it would be 25%, a quarter of the recon. If Joe Manchin has his way at 1.5, it would be 30% of the recon. Let's look at the situation. This recon is the fourth stimulus recon. And if you've been with this channel for a while, you know that Chuck Schumer has been very smart and diligent in saving up recons. The president has other recons. The president could have done 2 recons at the same time and should have. My commentary, it was a misguided step by the president to do climate in this recon. He should have done a 6th stimulus recon at the same time as the 4th one. The 6th stimulus should have just been climate. Why? The biggest resistance we've seen over the last few months is that the recon is too big. Well, it's too big because climate's in it. The Democrats like spending a certain amount of money every year. And so you could have put the climate into its own recon and called it for a vote now, but rolled it out for expenditure next year. It would have been simple. The president started this recon as the follow-up to the America Rescue Plan. But let's be frank, this is America Rescue Plan Part 2. This is supposed to be money to help people. The very telling issue is that Americans are not yet fully rescued. And the climate will not be rescued overnight. The climate's bad today. The climate will be bad next month. The climate will be bad next January, even if you pass a recon for the climate. Climate is not a sense of urgency. At least spending the money on the climate is not a sense of urgency. Agreeing on the policy, you can agree on the policy, but don't spend the money. And certainly don't take the money away from other programs. What's at issue is that over the last week, we've seen programs drop from $350 billion to $200. Recon items are surviving if they're at $100 to $250 billion. We've seen items like paid family leave. We've seen items like Medicare. We've seen items like housing having to be dropped dramatically. Now we know why. Because recon was being consumed by climate at $550. Bad guidance. I'm in favor of climate change, but the climate change should not have taken away from other programs. It appears at the moment that the climate provisions are staying exactly how they were, while everything else is getting reduced. Now, here's something you haven't heard until right now either. This is factual, not commentary. Why is the president going overseas? Where is the president going overseas? What is he doing overseas? The president leaves on Thursday to go overseas to go to a climate conference. Yeah. What was he looking to do at that climate conference? Say that I have the biggest body of legislation ever passed in the United States, perhaps passed globally, for climate. The highest ever before this was third stimulus at about $60-80 billion for climate. I'm getting $550 billion. He wanted a press event about climate. That could have been done by saying, I'm putting it into the 6th stimulus package. It's a climate stimulus package, and we're calling it as a separate vote. Rather, it was put together with things like people's teeth and their vision and their hearing. When, if you can't see, if you can't hear, are you concerned about the climate today? No. You're concerned about the climate next year. And so it's a misguided step by the president putting climate together. Ultimately, you see where progress has been reached in the last 24 hours. You've seen where progress has been reached, but you also see how broadcast media and myself are starting to think the same for the first time in a little while, which is the president needs to be face-to-face with the legislators to say, negotiate this, negotiate that. Leaving it to a bunch of 40-year-old staffers to say, Bernie, what do you think about this? Joe, what do you think about that? Ain't going to get anyone anywhere, especially when you have 60-plus progressives saying, you need to address our situation first, and they haven't. President going overseas to do climate. When he's talking about a $550 billion part of a recon about climate, leaving people in charge of climate to go to have meetings with people who want to talk about teeth and dental with people who govern climate. Misstep. And if you want to go in for the mic drop is day one of this channel when not day one of this channel, day one of the presidency of this, day one of this presidency. When the president came in office, you'll remember what the first executive orders were from this president, covered on this channel live when it happened. Climate and stamps. I got it. Climate's a priority for this president. I got it. But you cannot have climate overstep the other priorities of the American people. And at least that's my commentary. Coming up next is noontime at 11 a.m. Then we got a big show at 1 o'clock, the Afternoons LA. We have a brand new Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock. Let me show you where we are on time schedule. This is very important, so I left it for the end. We are currently at about 9:50 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is about 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Many analysts are sort of looking at the situation saying, can the president get a deal on the recon before he leaves to go overseas on Thursday? You're going to see that the Afternoons LA show taped right before this broadcast is the latest update. But the evening LA show at 5 o'clock, which will air at 5 o'clock, will be taped right before that. And that will show the status going into the late hours of Wednesday night. We're going to see if the president can pull a wand out of his back pocket, still in D.C., and get this recon agreed to at the 11th hour. They've made big progress before when they rush, but I'm concerned that the dental vision hearing has been stalled for 48 hours. 2 days, no progress, no negotiations, nothing changing. So let's see. We'll see what happens. And then, of course, we'll see the dramatics of whether my prediction comes true, that Nancy may try to call vote on the roads and bridges on Friday or Thursday, and the progressives, absolutely, all 60 of them, are going to block it once again. We'll see what happens with that. A lot of dramatics in a 24-hour period. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Don't stop advocating, as Donnie said to me. Tell the viewers, advocate. Absolutely need to advocate. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Join me next on noontime at 11 a.m. Big show across the board. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day, and stay with LA for more.